Stop checking the 3D for validation when you're manifesting your desired reality. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. This is Priya, your manifestation coach. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why you should stop checking the 3D for validation when you are manifesting. But first, if you would like to get coached by me, I offer an online course, Manifest Your SP Mastery, where I show you step by step how to manifest your specific person. I also offer one-on-one coaching to help you manifest anything that your heart desires. And finally, I also offer monthly membership coaching. This is where you can get live coaching with me on a weekly basis to really stay on top of your manifestation game. You can get access to any of these offerings by simply clicking the link below in the description box. Okay, let's get back to this video. Stop checking the 3D for validation when you're manifesting your desired reality. So the reason why I made this video is because in the comment section, I've been seeing a lot of comments about checking the 3D for movement, checking your text messages to see if SP has messaged you, checking your bank account to see if you have the money yet, or checking your SP on social media. There is a lot of talk about, oh, I keep checking the 3D and I don't know how to stop. So I really wanted to make this video to shine some light on, number one, why you want to stop checking the 3D, and then number two, how to do it. So the reason why you absolutely want to stop checking the 3D for validation is because ultimately manifesting whatever it is that your heart desires, whether that's a version of your specific person, more money, your dream job, your ideal body, the car, the house, the money, etc., the process is always the same. It's always about being the version of you that already has your specific person or that already has the money. In other words, live from the end. Embody being the version of you that already has it now in the present moment. And you want to dominantly stay in this state, because when you dominantly stay in this state, your subconscious mind will always produce proof to you of the dominant story or dominant state that you are dwelling in. Your subconscious mind always has to prove you right. And that's how you manifest whatever it is that your heart desires. So the whole idea of manifesting is, who are you being in this moment? Are you being the version of you that has your manifestation or not? So let's take an example. Let's say you want to manifest a version of your specific person that is in a loving, committed relationship with you. You can insert any desire into here, but I'm just going to use SP as an example. And let's say that right now you are only friends. So the idea is you want to begin to be the version of you that is already in a committed, loving relationship with your specific person. How do you do this? Either through affirmations. Remember, affirmations are just the thoughts that you are thinking, or through visuals, or through scripting. Okay, you are going to dominantly reside in your desired reality by being the version of you that has your specific person. So the practice then, as you're moving through your day, is, okay, am I being the version of me that has my specific person? Let's keep it to affirmations. Are you constantly thinking as if you're the version of you that's in a loving, committed relationship with your specific person? Are you thinking thoughts such as, oh, me and my specific person are in a happy, loving, committed relationship. I'm always lovable. I'm always chosen. I'm always prioritized. These are type of thoughts that you're thinking repetitively and dominantly. And so the idea is, if you're practicing being the version of you that has your manifestation right now, why would you look to the 3D for validation? Why would you look to the 3D to see if you have your manifestation or not? Because the second that you do that, the second that you look to your 3D to see, has specific person changed yet, you are no longer the version of you that has your specific person or that is living in the end. In that moment, you are not that version of you. So, for people who say, yeah, I still manifested what I want, although I checked the 3D, absolutely, you can still manifest what you want, although you check the 3D for validation. Absolutely. But ultimately, it's like a harder way of going about things, right? Because for a lot of people, and what I see when I'm coaching, is that when they check the 3D for validation and say the 3D doesn't show them what they're looking for, so maybe nothing's changed yet or SP is still the same, that then triggers them. And then they stay in this cycle where it's like they'll do a little bit of affirming, then they'll check the 3D to see if it's worked yet, and then they'll get triggered. And then they're dealing with the trigger, but then they're dealing with the affirming, and then they'll look again, and then they get triggered, and they're just in this cycle where they're never really consistently being the version of them that is living in the end, because they keep getting triggered by checking the 3D, and every time they're checking the 3D, they're not being the version of them that has their specific person. Now, note here, I said it's for most people. Like, some people are fine with knowing they're God of their reality, and they're just peeking into the 3D to see where they're at. But they're not letting what they see in the 3D affect them, meaning they're not letting it trigger them. And that's a whole different story, right? Because if you can do that, that's absolutely fine. But if you keep getting triggered by the 3D because you're seeking validation from the 3D, then you're never really giving yourself a chance to live in your desired state predominantly. And also, the whole point of manifestation is that you're validating yourself from within. You're giving what you desire to yourself from within. That's why you affirm as if you already have it, or you visualize as if you already have it. So when you're feeling that urge to look outside of you to say, oh, do I have the money yet, or has a specific person conformed yet? That should be an alarm bell to say, oh, right now I'm not being the version of me that has my manifestation. So I need to go within and validate myself and give it to me from within. And then you make that choice and you go in and you either affirm, you think as if you're the version of you that has it, or you visualize, whatever you need to do to, or feel the feeling, whatever you need to do to get yourself back into the state of being the version of you that has it. That's the whole process. And you want to consistently and continually do that over and over and over again, so that you are residing in your desired state predominantly. Because your subconscious mind will always produce proof to you of the dominant state that you are dwelling in. That's how you manifest the version of your specific person that you desire, or the money, or the car, the house, or the ideal body. You have to reside in your desired reality, in that new state of consciousness dominantly. So when you're looking to the 3D for validation, it just means that in that moment, you're not being the version of you that already has it. And so you want to practice going within and validating yourself from within to say, oh yeah, actually I am the version of me that has it. And that's the practice, and that's the work. Now, if you are somebody, on the other hand, who can look at the 3D and, you check it to maybe just see where you're at, or if things are progressing, but you don't let the 3D affect you, meaning you're not triggered by it if you don't see movement, or if it hasn't moved, like you don't care because in your mind, you still know that you're the version of you that has it. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. And this video isn't for those people. This video is for those people who are constantly looking to the 3D for validation, constantly getting triggered by the 3D. And so they're in this loop, or in this negative cycle of, I'm going to affirm for a bit, but then check the 3D. Affirm for a bit, but then check the 3D. Or visualize for a little bit, but then check the 3D. Or script for a little bit, but then check the 3D. And then it's like you never get anywhere, because you're never staying in your desired state long enough for it to become the dominant story. This video is for you guys. So my message to you guys is, you want to remember that the golden rule is you're validating yourself from within. So when you want to look outside of you for validation, to say, have they changed yet? Do I have the money yet? Is it here yet? That's an alarm bell that in this moment, I'm not living in the end. I'm not the version of me that has it. So in that moment, you make a different choice. You go within and you validate yourself. You think as if, or you visualize, or you feel it. There's a number of ways in which you go in to validate yourself, and it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, it's you going within and being the version of you that already has it, through whichever way feels best to you, right? The practice is you're coming back to embodying and being the version of you that already has your manifestation. And when you do this repeatedly, you'll get to the point where this becomes your dominant state, and that's when you'll manifest your desired reality. And, ultimately, the deeper meaning of manifestation is that you're no longer looking to your 3D for validation. Now, it doesn't matter if you do. My message isn't, oh my God, if you do it, then you fucked it up and you shouldn't be. No, that's not my message. My message is that if you do, it's okay if you do. You just don't want to dwell there, right? Instead, you want to notice what's going on, be aware of what's going on, and then come back inside of you and remember that you're the operant power, and that you can choose to be the version of you that's already in your desired reality, regardless of what the 3D is showing you or not showing you in this moment. And that's the practice. That's what you want to practice. You want to practice validating yourself from within, because what's going on in your 3D reality is just a reflection of your assumptions, beliefs, and dominant thought patterns. So ultimately, your true power lies from within. And when you're looking to the external, it's like looking to the mirror, to the reflection in the mirror to change. Well, the reflection in the mirror can't change unless you first change in the same way, unless you shift your assumptions and your dominant thought patterns to align with your desired reality. Your 3D cannot change. Well, you have to dominantly be in a state where you're in your desired reality in order for your manifestation to occur. So if you're constantly looking to the 3D for validation, then you don't truly on a deep level understand how manifestation works. You just don't, because if you did, you wouldn't look to the 3D. Or if you did look to the 3D, you would do something about it. You would catch yourself and say, oh, I'm looking for validation. Let me go back within and validate myself. That's you really doing the work. If you need the 3D to change before you can change your story, or before you can form a dominant story, good luck with that, because that's impossible. Your 3D can never change until you first change your inner state. So if you fixate on the 3D without changing what's going on from within, you're just going to keep getting more of the same shitty circumstances that you're currently experiencing. Right? It cannot change unless you first change what's going on inside of you. It ultimately comes down to that, which is why you want to practice validating yourself from within, making sure that you're dominantly doing this. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not talking about perfection here, but we are talking about consistency. We are talking about developing a habit where more often than not, you are validating yourself from within. So I hope this video has given you some clarity on why you don't want to look to the 3D for validation. And secondly, how to stop doing this. It's as simple as you notice when you're doing it, and then from there, you make a different choice. You make a decision to say, you know what? I'm going to go within and validate myself. You don't judge yourself or make yourself wrong when you catch yourself looking to the 3D for validation. Instead, you celebrate it and you say, I caught myself. And you see that as a win, and then you do something about it. You go within and you validate yourself, either through affirming or visualizing or whatever tool it is that you want to use. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful evening. Mwah.